everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree moss covered Easter bunny, and we're going to use this yardstick. I know when I bought it everybody was like, what are you going to do with that? And as well as some floral moss. I'm going to end up using more than one package, so get two, and then some jute cord twine. You can also use the cotton twine from the Dollar Tree if you prefer a white tail, and of course your gluing device as well as your cutting device, which is going to get all messy full of moss, but that's okay, we love it anyway, right? Okay, so again, I don't know why my video camera keeps cutting out on me, so I did not have the video of me cutting off all of the parts, but it just cut off with my regular scissor. I have not the strongest hand strength anymore, but I do know it's stronger than others. So if you need assistance, maybe if your husband or your son or nephew, whoever could do it for you to cut off the pieces, or stronger daughter, I'm sorry, that sounded very sexist there for a second. I just cut off the two steaks, the tail, and the whiskers. Okay, and now we're going to make a pom-pom out of the jute. The jute doesn't make the best pom-pom. You definitely have to add glue to it at the end. But it does come out cute when it's finished. So what we're going to do is, if you've never made a pom-pom before, I've ripped the top right off of a burlap ribbon roll from the Dollar Tree that was left over in the garbage. I folded it in half. I laid a long piece of jute down across the top where it's folded. This does help in the end when you go to tie it. And then I just wrapped the jute around it. In hindsight, I probably would have made a bigger hole, but I wanted to make sure that the size of the circle that you cut out will end up being roughly the size of the pom-pom, unless you trim it, that you end up with, okay? And then you're just going to wrap it around as many times as you think you need to get a full enough pom-pom like you want. Now this pom-pom doesn't need to be as full as one that's 360 degrees around, because it's going to sit flat on a flat surface, so we're going to push all of the threads forward, if that makes any sense, okay? And then once you have it all twisted, you take the strings that you laid down at first and you tie a really tight knot across the back. And then you take your scissor, you go between the two pieces of cardboard and you start cutting. But I found that because it's jute and it's kind of thick, my utility knife worked best. So I laid the material down flat on the table. I took my utility knife with the blade away from me, and I laid it between the two pieces of cardboard, and I just kept slicing until I had separated all of the pieces of string. And now I am trimming. Some of them are going to be a lot longer than others. It depends on how you're wrapping it. And then I just trimmed it into an even size pom-pom. And now I'm just going to fluff it up. And so you could comb it out at this point. Or brush it out. I don't really particularly like that. It makes it really fuzzy. And I don't know how it will work well with the jute. But if you can find a jute colored yarn, this would be cute as well. But we just have tons of jute laying around, so we made sure we use that. Utilize what you have, that's what they always say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to train it a little bit. I'm going to take a rubber band and I'm going to pinch the back side. I'm basically pulling the two strings that I tied, and I'm pulling all of the jute in one direction forward. And then I'm going to take a rubber band and I'm going to tie it around the little nub that is created in the back. And this is just, I'm going to set it aside anyway, and this is just to help train it to get the jute to go all forward. It doesn't work 100%. I told you I'm going to end up adding a little hot glue at the end, but it does end up making a really cute pom-pom for this tail at the end, so I really liked it. I haven't made a pom-pom in a very long time, I realized when I was doing this. It's been quite a while. But of course, depending on the size of the ring that you use, plus the size of the hole inside the ring, will determine the size of the pom-pom that you get. But this folded in half piece of cardboard is always my favorite method. Okay? Now comes the fun part. Put on a movie. Get a gluing mat and clear your area, because it's about to get messy. Just like glitter, moss covering stuff has its benefits, its rewards, as well as its not so good parts. So covering something with moss actually does make it look very fresh and real. It takes something that is plastic and transforms it into something organic. However, it is a process. It is a messy process, but it's a fun process. And technically, it's an easy process. It's just messy. So what I did was I started with the ears, as I don't know why I always seem to start with the ears. It's really funny. But what I do is I laid down glue. Now this particular plastic piece that we're using, if you can't find it, any bunny shape will take on this moss. You might have to put down a grid work of paper or string or something to give it some body to hold on to. But if you can't find this bunny, this would also be really cute with the chick that they sell or the egg. But what we just did was we put the moss down on, I put the glue down on wherever there was plastic. I definitely want to use your gluing mat under this. The chopping mats from the Dollar Tree work excellent for this. I like to glue on the shiny side. It does help peel the pieces of glue off in the end. So then what I do is I basically take the biggest pieces of moss that I can, try not to break them apart. It makes it a little easier. But flat. You want to get some pieces that are quite flat. And then I start gluing in bunches. What we're going to do at first is we're just going to put the first layer of moss down. It's not going to be 2 layers of moss, but what we're going to do is we're going to do a layer of moss on the body. We're going to shake off and find any holidays, what we like to call them, any missing open spots, and then fill in and re-glue. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue the very, very edges because we want this to look like just moss. We don't want, it's not just about covering the plastic, it's about making it wrap around a little bit so it looks like it's dimensional, I guess is what I'm saying, as opposed to just flat. Okay? And we're just going to repeat the process with glue and moss and trimming. What I like to do is I like to trim it not only around its edges to get the bunny shape back, but I also like to trim it flat-wise. Like I basically take my scissors parallel to the work and I like to cut it so it's thinner. I like it to be tightly packed, even though I do want it to be dimensional. I want it to cover around the sides, but I do want it to be as flat as possible. We also like to shake off the extras, and there's a few reasons we want to do this. I tapped it quite a bit. Every time I did a little something, I would tap off any excess. So when you hang this in your house, you don't want to have green moss everywhere. When you go to move it, if it drops on the floor, if you put it outside, you're probably guaranteed that birds are going to take some of it with them. Just saying. But that's okay. We love our friends. But if you put it outside and it blows in the wind, you might lose moss. So we really want to make sure that we have all of the excess loose stuff come off. And we want to go ahead and add glue to those areas where we need to fill back in. And like I said, this is a very easy process. This is a very easy DIY. But it is a tiny bit time consuming. Now I know that some DIYers and some YouTubers have found sheet moss at the Dollar Tree. Sheet moss is basically the moss is already glued onto a piece of cloth, or I'm not exactly sure since I didn't find it what it's glued onto. And then if you wanted to do that, you can just go ahead and cut out the shape and glue it on there. I would still add the moss around the edges to give it that like full feeling, you know. So that's just another option that makes it even more easy, right? Or even easier is what I should say. So the inspiration for this was from Pinterest. It was somebody, actually technically it was from Etsy. I found it on Pinterest. Somebody was selling this for $45. That's a lot. But theirs had string and a bow on top. I've left mine completely plain, but what she basically did was glued a string hanger from ear to ear, just a piece of jute, and at the top of the piece of jute where it would hang on the door, she added a burlap bow. I didn't want to do that. I liked it just like this, but you guys go ahead. You know how I love how I encourage you. I love how you guys express your own individuality and your own style into these DIYs. It's my favorite part of doing this, is to see all of the things that you guys come up with that are inspired by me. You can always go ahead and copy exactly the dimensions or whatever, how I do it, but not prefer, but I really do love to see how you take it and run in with it and make it your own. That's like my favorite thing. I guess I was like when I was a school teacher, and it's like you teach the kids their ABCs, and when they finally learn their ABCs, you're like, yeah, I did that, but they did that, and that's what's more important. Okay. So you can see here I'm just tapping around the edges. So one of the ways I've described this in other videos is because once you trim off all these pieces, it kind of becomes like moss glitter. That's the way I can describe it. So there's all these, or even like moss sawdust, which is, moss dust, which it's really, seems like it could be really annoying. However, when you're doing these trimmed edges, it's actually sort of perfect. So what you could do is you can add your strip of glue down and you can dip it in that moss glitter. And then you can get complete coverage around there. I wait a few seconds. Again, this is at 4 times speed. So I wait a few seconds just for it to cool off just ever so slightly. And then I go ahead and I squeeze it on just to really get it into that glue. And one of the things that's great about this bunny is because it's all open weave. Some moss goes on the back and does help, but it's okay. If you want to go ahead and make this 3-dimensional, you could moss both sides and it would be super easy. What I was actually contemplating was leaving the stakes in there and making a 3-dimensional sort of topiary bunny, which is an option. That'd be really cute as well. I just wanted to make a door hanger for you guys. So a piece of decor, I should say. All right. So that's why I opted not to. But see how cute on the back there if you just continued. It would be much easier for the second side because the glue, on the first side, the glue wants to kind of fall through the holes if you're not careful. On the back, the glue would just fall into the moss, which would be fine. And then it would catch on easier. But that would be really cute. It really would. Let's see. Trim, 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 tap, 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 trim, 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 glue, 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 tap, tap, tap. And I tried not to miss any pieces, but if I did, I could always go back tomorrow, the next day. If you ever lose any moss off of it, you can always add it on in the future. That's one of the greatest things about doing your own DIYs. When you create something from scratch, you could very easily repair it because you're the person. And now we're cleaning up. And one of the other great things about the glue mat is, or the cutting mat from the Dollar Tree, is not just that it collects all the glue, but it holds all the moss. And then you use it like a board scraper. That was really kind of coolest part. It folds really nicely and pours right back into the Ziploc bag. Okay? So I have it mostly cleaned off, the table. And of course, there's always that last minute it wants to fall off. But now we're going to take our pom-pom. And I'm not going to undo the rubber band yet. I actually did trim it, but I didn't take it off. I clipped it, but I didn't take it off. My rubber band, because it was wrapped on itself, it stayed on there. And I just basically put a big glob of hot glue on the end and glued it exactly where I wanted it to go on his tail. The inspiration piece had it much higher up. I'm not really sure why, but... and then I added that glue between where the two sides of the pom-pom met, and I squeezed them together so it made more of a rounded pom-pom. And I trimmed off the 2 string edges. And I'm just showing you here how cute it would look with a bow on it. And that bow left over from Valentine's Day was way too big. But how cute it would be that even though this is the back of the bunny, it would look really cute if it had a bow on it. I'm weird. I would have put the bow in the front of the ear, like kind of thing, if I was making a girl. I don't know. I'm weird that way. I think if it's the back of the bunny, it probably doesn't have a bow back there, but you might be able to see it on his ear. I don't know. But here's where I'm making a hanger. I'm just making one of the little jute loops that we always do, and I'm gluing it to the center, kind of above his nose, so I made sure it was the center left and right. And... clean up my last bits and do my last tappity tap, 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 and make sure nothing else is coming off. And then that's it. It's really cute. I'm telling you, if you are on Pinterest and you see the inspiration piece, I'm sure you'll appreciate it. So hopefully you really enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, please give this a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family, anybody you know might be interested in making this cute little bunny from the Dollar Tree. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!